You've advised on 100 to $200 million in capital raises. What do you think is the one thing that founders forget in these moments?
A lot of times they're very eager for the money and they don't properly necessarily strategize. So, a few things. Number one is choosing the right person to take the money from. There's a lot of times people willing to give you money because they see a lot of interest in your product or your service, but not necessarily you. So, once they take your money, they will force you out. Um, and that's where you need a shareholders agreement that gives you some protections. But the reality is when it's you versus big VC, you're going to ultimately most likely lose that fight. The other thing is taking more money than you actually need. So you might put a valuation on your business now. You take more money than you need, and that money is just sitting in the bank account. It results in you getting diluted down a lot in your shareholding when you could have potentially took half that amount, use that money to grow it, and then raise again at a much higher valuation and being diluted by half of what you actually were. Um, so those are the biggest things I see in terms of that, and not understanding the dilution of shareholding, and and not understanding that if you have 51% shares in your business, it means that you have a right to appoint and remove directors because you need 51% under the Corporations Act to pass a resolution for the appointment and removal of a director. If you get diluted down, you fall below that amount, which means that someone can get the shareholders together to remove you. Hmm. Unless you have a shareholders agreement with what's called founders' rights. And founders' rights says as long as I have 10% shares in the business, I always have a right to appoint a director, and there's no right for a shareholder to remove me unless I'm incapacitated. Um, and then there's other protections that you can put in, like major business decisions can't be made without the founder's approval, or a quorum for a shareholders meeting or director meeting can't happen without the founder, or if the shareholders approve the sale of the entire business, they must get the founder's approval before going ahead with it. So these are kind of measures to protect the founder. But once you ask for those measures, then oftentimes the investor will also ask for the same thing. So these are some of the hiccups that we see when it comes to capital raising.
Yeah.